Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Very famous quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Happy MLK Day, everybody. I am going to honor the memory and the legacy by reading something from A Testament of Hope. This is a really big book. It's a collection of, it says the essential writings and speeches of Martin Luther King Jr. It has some of his books too. So I wanted to read a little portion of, this was from an article that was published in a Christian publication on the current crisis in race relations. And it's a little part that talks about internal non-violence, internal violence rather. He was a big, advocate for non-violence. That was what he was known for. Agape love, universal love, loving our enemies. I think that's that quote in its fullness. The quote is, returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. That was from a famous sermon about loving your enemies. But this is from this article that he published, and I'm just going to read a little portion. It's about internal violence. A fourth point that must be brought out concerning the method of nonviolence is that this method not only avoids external physical violence, but also internal violence of spirit. So, concerning the method of nonviolence, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wanted us to know that this method of nonviolence does not only apply to outer physical violence, hurting people with your physical body, but it also applies to internal violence of the spirit, looking at our own internal violence, our thoughts, those violent thoughts, hate thoughts, thoughts of resentment, of anger, of bitterness towards others, which, remember, our subconscious mind doesn't know others, it just knows ourselves. So we're just putting bitter, nasty, hateful thoughts towards ourselves. That's why it behooves us to be kind. It's hard. It's the hardest thing to do. Remember, I just posted the other day. It's easy. It's easy to be mean. It's the simplest thing in the world. It comes second nature to us. It is so easy. It's like the reflex when the doctor hits your knee and it's reaction. Anybody can react. It takes no effort, no strength to be calm and be, come from our spiritual selves, ourselves with a capital S, instead of our animalistic selves, just, reacting with violence and anger. Okay. So nonviolence, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wants us to know, it is not just about physical nonviolence, it's about internal nonviolence. At the center of nonviolence stands the principle of love. In struggling for human dignity, the oppressed people of the world must not succumb to the temptation of becoming bitter or indulging in hate campaigns. To retaliate with hate and bitterness would do nothing but intensify the existence of hate in our world. Nonviolence, that's why it's so hard, especially a couple years ago when people were protesting. We want to do that. We want to yell and we scream. And of course, if that's what you feel you need to do, by all means. But it's hard to not see that just is fueling the flame and perpetuating, even though it's nonviolent to yell. We might be sitting nonviolently and not, breaking windows, but what are we like inside? Are we hating others inside? Do you get your picket, nonviolent picket with, peace for everyone, but really in your heart, you're saying those assholes, they're just ignorant, they're idiots. That's where the real power is. So if that's where you're at, if you are not nonviolent within, please do not go to the street with your nonviolent suit on, but yet you're raging inside with nasty, hateful energy towards others. Please stay inside and do some reflection, because that's where it matters. Because that's really what is projected into the world, not the picture you see of you sitting peacefully in a sit-in. Are you there peacefully inside at your sit-in? If you're not, stay at home. Okay, to retaliate with hate and bitterness would do nothing but intensify the existence of hate in our world. We have learned through the grim realities of life and history that hate and violence solve nothing. They only serve to push us deeper and deeper into the mire. Violence begets violence, hate begets hate, and toughness begets a greater toughness. It is all a descending spiral, and the end is destruction for everybody. Along the way of life, Someone must have enough sense and morality to cut off the chains of hate by projecting the ethics of love into the center of our lives. Be that person. In speaking of love, I am not referring to some sentimental and affectionate emotion. It would be nonsense to urge men to love their oppressors in an affectionate sense, right? You don't have to go to lunch with people, but do your best to forgive and love them. And that is a process. That's where the real work is. That's where real work and strength and bravery is, in this internal battle. Not out here, not how much armor and bullets and everything you can, push people and oppress people or make people bend to your way. The real strength is within inside. It doesn't matter what other people do. You're at peace inside. So in speaking of love, I'm not referring to some sentimental and affectionate emotion. It would be nonsense to urge you to, love your enemies in an affectionate way and hug them and hold hands with them. That's not what he's asking us. He's talking about love in this connection means understanding, goodwill, as expressed in the Greek word agape. This means nothing sentimental or basically affectionate. It means understanding, redeeming goodwill for all men, and ever owing love, which seeks nothing in return. That's what we have to focus on, the agape love, not the sentimental, cutesy love. It is spontaneous, unmotivated, groundless, and creative. It's what's at our core. It truly is. It is the love of God operating in the human heart. When we rise to love on the agape level, we rise to the position of loving the person who does the evil deed while hating the deed that the person does. So don't hate the person. You can, if you're going to hate the deed. Please, the goal is to not hate at all, to understand it's an illusion. None of it's real. Don't give it power. Do not crown it with authority. For example, I use this all the time when my car got broken into. Brand new car, just got the windows tinted, and I left my purse in the car. I tried to tuck it under the seat. My bad. Lesson learned, trust me. But times are hard, so I get why the person did it. Doesn't make it okay, but I could forgive that person right away. They're desperate. And I could forgive that they broke every window, not just one. Tried to get in every window, okay? So forgive that. Bless their hearts. They're not that adept or, whatever, good at breaking windows. Forgive it. Things can be replaced. Forgiving the deed, right, of breaking every window, of how they went about it, or that stealing or robbery or whatever. It's like, I remember, this is what this work does. I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, and forgiving and loving and understanding, it's a muscle. And so I did it really quick. It came up and I forgive it. This isn't real. It's an illusion. It doesn't matter. Was it real in this physical 3D world? Yes. But in my mind, I'm not going to crown that situation with power over me or of God or of the good things in my life. Because I truly, truly believe, and it works, right? Whatever you believe is true for you. So it was true for me, and it got me through that within minutes. But if I kept that hate and that anger and the, malice in my heart and the resentment of, look what they did to me, they're jerks, now I'm out of all of the stuff, my brand new purse that I got when I was traveling. If I went down that route, it would have been never ending, and I would have had everybody to, be on my side. In a jury of 12, I would have won. But do I want to be right? Or do I want to be happy? Do I want to be right, or do I want to be happy? We all want to be happy, but we are unwilling to give up being right, and that's where we suffer. All right, sorry, side tangent. Okay, so in speaking of love, I'm not referring to some sentimental and affectionate emotion. It would be nonsense to urge men to love their oppressors in an affectionate sense. Love in this connection means understanding good will and expressed in the Greek word agape. All right. This means nothing sentimental or basically affectionate. It means understanding, redeeming goodwill for all men, an ever-owing love which seeks nothing in return. It is spontaneous, unmotivated, groundless, and creative. It is the love of God operating in the human heart. When we rise to love on the agape level, we rise to the position of loving the person who does the evil deed while hating the deed that the person does. A fifth basic fact about the method of nonviolent resistance is that it is based on the conviction that the universe is on the side of justice. It is this deep faith in the future that causes the nonviolent resistor to accept suffering without retaliation. He knows that in his struggle for justice, he has cosmic companionship. Now, I am aware of the fact that there are devout believers in nonviolence who find it difficult to believe in a personal God. But even these persons believe in the existence of some creative force that works for togetherness, a creative force in this universe that works to bring the disconnected aspects of reality into a harmonious whole. The laws of nature are always looking for harmony and balance, so at least we can believe in that. There is a creative power in the universe that works to bring low, gigantic mountains of evil and pull down prodigious hilltops of injustice. So let's just look at nature. When our bodies, when we get sick, the white blood cells, everything starts trying to bring our body back to health and homeostasis by attacking that cell, by going after it. But during that time, it's a poop storm. We feel like crap. But it's all for the greater good. So let's look at any injustices or anything that's going on in our world, or they're still going on, right? Justice and, loving one another and nonviolence when it comes to any disagreement or any troubles that we're having. The chaos is there, yes. But remember, it's just to bring that balance back. But what kind of destruction are we going to do in the interim? We can either learn through love or through pain. Let's choose love, this agape love. Again, that was from Internal Violence from the Current Crisis in Race Relations. It was a article written by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and was published in a Christian publication. I love that. That was just a little tidbit. My favorite, I think it was on HBO, King in the Wild, King in the Wilderness. It was a documentary on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I think it was back in 2017, 2018 when it came out. The best. So if you want to celebrate, remember a great, watch that documentary. He is one of my favorite, him and Gandhi, and he talked a lot about Gandhi and love and nonviolence. So I am forever ever grateful for, he was such a student. He loved philosophy. I love philosophy too. He talks a lot about love, about agape love and nonviolence, and I am on this team right here. This is what I hope to convey, and I'm still working on that. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a wonderful day. If you have a day off, enjoy. I will see you tomorrow.